So yesterday we talked about um, circumference of circles, which is the distance around a circle. But today we are going to talk about the distance, the area inside of the circle, the space inside of the circle. So I wrote down on your worksheet that the formula area is equal to pi times the radius squared. And remember, we said that pi is equal to 3.14 when we are calculating things. Also a refresher, a radius is referring to, so if I've got a circle, it's the distance from the center to the outside. This would be a radius. If I had a circle that goes straight all the way through the middle, that is a diameter, remember. So if we have a diameter and we need a radius, we would need to cut it in half by dividing by 2. So let's look at problem number 1 together. So this 8 yards goes from the center to the outside, which means it's already a radius. So we have our area formula, pi times the radius squared. And remember, radius is not times 2. So another way to write this would be area is equal to, instead of pi, we use 3.14, and then squared would mean the radius times the radius again. Remember, it's multiplied by itself. So in this case, my radius is 8. So to set that up, I would do 3.14 times 8 times 8 again. So go ahead and type that in your calculators and see what you get. Hopefully the answer you got was 200.96. Now we need to label it. This says yards. So I've got yards, but remember we are finding the area. When we are talking about area, it needs to be squared. So it would be 200.96 yards squared for this one. Now let's look at number 2. So number 2, it has 18 inches, but it's going all the way across. So this is a diameter. Diameter would be 18, but in our formula, we don't need a diameter, we need a radius. So remember, if the diameter is 18, if we divide that by 2, our radius would be 9. So 9 is what we need to use in our formula. So once again, pi 3.14 times the radius, don't use 18, we use 9, times 9 again because we square it. So go ahead and put that in your calculator. Hopefully you got 254.34. And this time it would be inches squared. All right, I'll do one more with you. So number 3, we've got a line from the center to the outside, which means it's already a radius. So the radius is 10. So we're going to calculate it using a radius of 10. So once again, we're going to start with pi, or 3.14, times our radius is 10, times our radius is 10. Go ahead and punch that in your calculator. And hopefully you got 314, and you would label it yards squared. Okay, so those are more of the simpler type of problems that you will see. Now, go ahead and flip it over on the other side. We're going to talk about a couple other type of problems that you will see. Okay, so we need to be looking at this page now on the back. So I'm going to go through the odds with you. So find the area of the circle. Finding the area of the circle. So our formula, remember, is area is equal to pi radius squared. So our line goes from the center to the outside, which means it's a radius. So if we plug that in, we've got pi 3.14 times the radius of 7.1 times the radius of 7.1 again. And it says round to the nearest hundredth. So it came out to 158.2874. Hundredths is 2 places after the decimal. 2 places. So that would be 1, 2. This 8 is in the hundredths place. I'm going to look to the right and I have a 7. 7 tells me to round up. So this 8 is going to round up to a 9. Everything after goes away and everything before it stays the same. So 158.29, and it would be meters squared. Okay, and I'm going to do one more problem with you, number 5. Okay, so if you notice, this is not a full circle. Do you guys know what this is called? Hopefully, some of you might know that this is called a semicircle. So semicircle is half of a circle. So what we're going to do is we are going to act like it's a full circle and solve for the area. Now, if you notice, this is a radius, but it is a fraction. So if you think about, let's turn this to a decimal. Remember back when we turned fractions to decimal, what did we do? Well, we took the numerator and divided it by the denominator. So this as a decimal would be 8.75. And remember, you can think of the fourth like quarters. If we have 3 quarters, we have 75 cents. So we are going to use a radius of 8.75. So let's go back to our formula. We've got pi, so 3.14 times our radius is 8.75 times 8.75. So plug all of that in. 3.14 times 8.75, 8.75, which comes out to 240.41. But this is a full circle, and the shape is a semicircle. And I said that's half of a circle. So we need to have half of the area. So to half an area, we would divide it by 2. So when we have a semicircle, we have to divide the area by 2 in order to get the area of it. So 240.41 divided by 2 means that you should have a final answer of 120.21. And then that would be feet squared. So your job is to complete the rest of the problems on this page. When you are done, I want you to please have your answers checked. When they look good, you will be given the exit slip password. You will then take the exit slip. Again, this is all without talking, please. And if you happen to get done with that, if you have other missing work you need to work on, you can work on that. You may read a book or Alex. Those are your only options. Please no games and please no talking. I will see you all tomorrow.